What's up, guys? How's it going? We are back. This is going to be my ranking of the top 50 Disney Channel stars of all time. I love Disney Channel. I've been watching Disney Channel basically since I've been alive. I've watched a lot of stuff that just came out before I was alive, and I've watched a lot of the more recent stuff as well, even though a lot of people really haven't been watching a lot more of the recent stuff. I personally have been, and I've enjoyed a good amount of it. There's a lot of stuff that's not so enjoyable, but that's a different topic for a different video. Let's get going with our ranking. So first off, I want to go over the criteria and the scoring that we're going to be using for this video. I wanted to be as unbiased as possible, which is kind of hard for me personally because I just want to rank these guys how I personally feel, but that's not really going to work because if I haven't watched them in a show or something, then I'm not going to rank them as high. So I didn't think that was fair, so I used some research, may have used some AI to help me with that as well, but I have a ranking here. Okay, my criteria, you have to be any show or a movie that was either produced by or premiered on Disney Channel or Disney XD. I know a lot of people, when they do these videos, they do not include Disney XD stuff, but I did personally because I do not feel like I can give the full story of some of these actors and actresses without including their Disney XD stuff, mainly being people like Olivia Holt, obviously being very big on Disney XD as well as Disney Channel. And also for my scoring here, there's 10 points possible for each part that you are in. You get 5 points for the movie or the show popularity, 5 being iconic, 4 is renowned, 3 is notable, 2 is like forgotten, and 1 is obscure. And you get 5 points for your role importance as well, 5 being the star of the show, 4 being prominent, 3 being visible, 2 being a minor character, and 1 being unknown. You're also going to get 10 bonus points for one of the 3 things here. If your character name is in the movie or show title, you get 10 bonus points. If you are the star in all of the projects that you are in, you get 10 bonus points. And if all of the projects that you are in are iconic, you also get 10 bonus points. So, without further ado, let's get started into our honorable mentions here. Move out of the way a little bit for you guys. But our honorable mentions here are going to be Lucas Grabeel with a score of a 32.6, famous for mostly being Ryan in High School Musical. Then you got Alyssa Ruin with a score of a 32, famous for being Kelsey in High School Musical. You got Bella Thorne, score of 31.3, famous for Shake It Up. Jordan Fisher with a score of 30, famous for being Holden and Liv and Maddie, as well as a side character in the Teen Beach franchise. Then you got Adriana Bailon being famous for being in the Cheetah Girls. Sterling Knight is famous for being in Starstruck, as well as Sunny with a Chance. Dan Povenmire, famous for being Dr. Doofenshmirtz in Phineas and Ferb, as well as some other side characters, and of course being the creator of Phineas and Ferb and other shows in that universe. But I'm not including him for his, creating of the shows. I'm just grading him off of his voice acting roles. Then you got David DeLuise, famous for Wizards of Waverly Place, playing Jerry Russo. You got Carolina Rhea. She was famous for being Linda Flynn Fletcher, the mother in Phineas and Ferb. Then you got Tania Gennady, famous for being Pliny in the show Stugo. She was also the English teacher in season 3 of Girl Meets World, which is one of the very few, potentially the only live action role she just had for Disney Channel. But let's move on to number 50, being Malachi Barton with a score of a 33.4. He's a guy that could definitely move up on this list because he is very much still acting. He's going to be the lead, or at least one of the leads, in a new show, Coven Academy, that's coming out in 2026. They might make a Zombies 5, and he probably will be the star of that. But he has been in Stuck in the Middle, Under Wraps, 1 and 2, Villains of Valley View, and of course Zombies 4, which is probably his biggest role to date. And also he was in one episode of Bunked, which I gave him a .1 multiplier on that because it's only one episode. I can't really give him too many points for it, but all that scoring there accumulates to a score of a 33.4, landing him at number 50. Number 49 is going to be Luke Bainward. I thought he could be a little bit higher. He definitely has more popularity, I would say, than what his score tends to show, especially around the time we are currently in, like the Halloween, Christmas time, because obviously he was in Girl vs. Monster and Halloween, and he's in Cloud 9, which isn't a Christmas movie, but it's definitely a winter movie, right? He was also in Minutemen. He was in Good Luck Charlie for a season. Then, of course, Cloud 9 and Girl vs. Monster. And he gets 10 bonus points for his name being in the title Cloud 9. Number 48 is going to be Peyton List with a score of a 33.83. She was in Jessie and Bunked as Emma Ross. That's her main role. She was also in The Swap as Ellie O'Brien as a star there as well, and she guest starred in a couple of shows as well. And she gets 10 bonus points for being the star in everything that she was in, just counting the actual role she was in, not just the guest star appearances. But yeah, Emma Ross in Jessie and Bunked is the star, and then Ellie O'Brien, of course, is the star in The Swap. Number 47 is going to be Sabrina Bryan with a score of a 34. She was the main character in all of the Cheetah Girls movies, of course, one of the main characters, right? And she was also Pamela Hamster in the show Fishhooks. Number 46 is going to be Kimberly J. Brown with a score of a 34.3. She is famous for the Halloween Town series, although she was not in the fourth Halloween Town called Return to Halloween Town. There was some sort of contract dispute or something where she chose not to come back to the franchise, right? That definitely could have got her a couple more points here, but yeah, she's also in a movie called Quince, which kind of made her not be able to get the 10 bonus points for being the star, because of course she is the star in the Halloween Town franchise, but she is not the star in Quince. Number 45 is going to be Leigh Allen Baker with a score of 34.5. She was in the animated show called The 7D as the star Queen Delightful. She was in Good Luck Charlie, of course, as Amy Duncan. Also in the Good Luck Charlie Christmas movie, obviously. She was the star alongside Laura Marano in Bad Hair Day as Liz Morgan, and she gets a score of 34.5. Number 44 is going to be Olivia Holt. I love Olivia Holt. I thought she was in more projects, to be honest. She's a star in Girl vs. Monster. She's a star in Kickin' It. She's the star in I Didn't Do It. But that's only like 3 projects, and just in my brain, I feel like I remember seeing her a lot on Disney Channel, but I guess she really wasn't in a whole lot. She was just the star in everything she was in, and that does give her a bonus 10 points. She comes in at number 44. Number 43 is going to be Kevin Jonas. I originally thought that he would probably be a little bit higher up on this list, but given that he's really not the main character in the Camp Rock franchise, kind of makes some sense that he is this low. But he was he was obviously in those Camp Rock movies, as well as in the Jonas/Jonas LA show. It kind of has 2 different names and 2 different seasons, but it is technically the same show. And he, of course, was the star in that show, and then he gets 10 bonus points for his name being in the title. And number 42 with the exact same score, so they're tied there, is going to be Nick Jonas. They're in the exact same things with the exact same importance in every role. Not really going to elaborate too much on that. Number 41 is not the other Jonas brother. He's going to be a little bit higher on this list. We will get to him when we get to him, but number 41 is G. Hanelius with a score of 36.35. She was a guest star in a decent amount of stuff. She was also playing an important role, Dakota Condor, in Sunny with a Chance. She was a star in Din Brother, the star in Dog with a Blog, which is probably her most prominent role. And she has some fairly prominent, pretty minor actually, but important, I would say, animated roles in Wander Over Yonder and Future Worm. Moving on now is number 40, Kelly Berglund, with a score of 36.5. She was the star in Lab Rats Elite Force, as well as Bree Davenport. Lab Rats Elite Force was very much a letdown compared to how successful Lab Rats was. She was also the star May Hartley in How to Build a Better Boy. So she does get 10 bonus points for being the star in everything that she was in. Number 39 is going to be Ricky Ullman with a score of a 36.6. He was in Phil of the Future as Phil Diffie, probably his most prominent role. He was also Roscoe in Pixel Perfect, and he was Eric in the Kim Possible movie, so the drama. And he does get 10 bonus points for being Phil, or for Phil being in the title of Phil in the Future. Number 38 is going to be Emily Osment with the exact same score of a 36.6. She was famous for being Lily Truscott in the Hannah Montana show and movie. She was also Melissa in Dadnapped, and she was Kendall Perkins in Kick Buttowski. Four very, very prominent roles here for Lily Truscott. Number 37 is going to be Jason Earls with a score of 37. He was obviously Jackson Stewart in Hannah Montana, the movie and the show. He was Merv in Dadnapped. He was Rudy Gillespie in Kickin' It. And he has a decent amount of guest star appearances as well. Number 36 is Laura Morano with a score of a 37.7. She was mainly in Austin and Ally with a score of 10 points for that show. She was also Rachel and Randy Cunningham and Monica Reeves as the star of Bad Hair Day. She gets a bonus 10 points for Austin and Ally. Of course, Ally is in the title there. Number 35 is going to be Corbin Blue with a score of a 39.6. He played obviously Chad Danforth in the High School Musical franchise. Then he had Jump In, where he was the star of that movie. He also played Coltrane, which is one of Jeremy's friends and Stacy's love interest, boyfriend. I don't know if they're technically dating, but she is Stacy's love interest and Jeremy's friend in Phineas and Ferb. Number 34 is going to be Boo Boo Stewart with a score of a 40.1. He was mainly in the Descendants franchise, the first three movies, and the animated show Wicked World. He also had a couple guest star appearances. He was Roman in Lab Rats Elite Force, and he was also Kevin in Big City Greens. Number 33 is going to be Maya Mitchell. She was only in a couple of things. She was Mac, of course, in the Teen Beach movies, 1 and 2, and she played Shaylee Michaels in a couple episodes of Jessie. But really, she was only in 2 things, but she was the star in both of those movies, and both of those movies are iconic. So she gets 20 bonus points. So she has 41 points for really only being in 2 things, which is pretty impressive. Number 32 is going to be Kyle Massey, also with a score of 41. There's a lot of ties in here, which I feel like is kind of interesting. But moving on, he played Calvin Wheeler in Life is Rough. He, of course, played Corey Baxter in That's So Raven. And then obviously had his own show, Corey in the House, where he played Corey Baxter. He played Milo in Fishhooks as well. Got a lot of points for that. And then he gets a bonus 10 points for being, Corey, obviously, is in the name of Corey in the House. Number 31 is going to be Mitchell Musso with a score of a 42.33. He played Oliver Oaken in Hannah Montana and the Hannah Montana movie. He also played, Brady Parker in Pair of Kings for the first 2 of the 3 seasons there. So he only gets 2/3 of the credit because that makes sense to me. He also voiced Jeremy Johnson in Phineas and Ferb, which is, pretty important, I would say. And then he was in Miles Murphy's Law and Hatching Pete as well. Number 30 is going to be Sophia Carson with a score of a 42.6. She was mainly in the Descendants franchise, being Evie. That got her most of her points here. She was also the star, co-star with Sabrina Carpenter in Adventures in Babysitting with a score of a 9 points from that movie. So she was mainly a movie girl. She was in 4 movies, and then she was in 1 animated show. Number 29 is going to be Vanessa Hudgens with a score of a 43, mainly just in the High School Musical franchise, but she was also a side character here in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, very minor character, but she was prominent in a decent amount of episodes for 2 of the 4 seasons. She does get, some points for being in that as well, and she gets 10 bonus points for all the projects that she was in being iconic. Number 28 is going to be Allison Stoner, and she got a score of 44.35. She's been in a lot of projects as well, being in the Camp Rock movies as Caitlin Geller, being Max in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody for one season, being Isabella in Phineas and Ferb and, the Second Dimension movie as well, and minor roles in Milo Murphy's Law and Hamster and Gretel. Phil Lewis at number 27 with a score of a 44.5. He's been in quite a bit of things here. He's Principal Tweety and Lizzie McGuire, Coco Banana and Kim Possible. He was, of course, Mr. Mosby in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Sweet Life on Deck. And he's been in a couple of other things as a guest star. He does get 10 bonus points for all the projects that he was in, being iconic. Number 26 is going to be China Ann McClain with a score of a 44.5. She was, of course, China Parks in Ant Farm. She was Gabby Harrison in How to Build a Better Boy. Gets the lead there. She played prominent character Uma in the second and third Descendants movie, and then Uma was more of a minor character here in Descendants Rise of Red. Number 25 is going to be Cameron Boyce. Rest in peace. Love the guy. He played Carlos in the first 3 Descendants movies, as well as Wicked World. He, of course, played Luke Ross in Jesse. Had a couple episodes in Bunked as well. And then he had his own show on Disney XD called Gamer's Guide to Pretty Much Everything, playing Connor/Kid Fury. Number 24 is going to be Bradley Stephen Perry with a score of a 46. He played Roger Elliston in Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure. Of course, was Gabe Duncan in Good Luck Charlie and the Good Luck Charlie Christmas movie. Played Kaz in Mighty Med and Lab Rats Elite Force. Had his own Disney XD movie playing Jake Parker in Pants on Fire. And then was a minor character in Descendants Wicked World as well. Number 23 is going to be Bridget Mendler with a score of a 46.5. She was pretty good in the limited amount of things that she did. She was obviously in Good Luck Charlie and the movie. She was in Lemonade Mouth. And she was Juliet in, a few seasons of Wizards of Waverly Place as well. And she does get 10 bonus points for everything that she was in, being iconic. Number 22 is going to be Shia LaBeouf with a score of 47.5. He's probably one of the best Disney Channel actors. I feel like a lot of people would agree with that, but he's not necessarily one of the best, among the top 10, 5, whatever, as far as total popularity, because he just wasn't really in enough stuff. He was the star of Even Stevens, the star of Hounded, the star of True Confessions, so he does get plus 20 points for being the star and everything, and then he gets plus 10 points as well for being his name being in the title of Even Stevens. Number 21 is going to be Kylie Cantrell with a score of a 49.3. She was mainly in Gabby Duran and the Unsittables as the main character, Gabby Duran. She was Red in Descendants Rise of Red, and she was a guest star in a couple of other shows as well. But she gets 30 bonus points, so most of her points do come from bonus points here, being the star in the 2 projects she was in, and her name is in both of the titles of the 2 projects that she was in. Number 20 is going to be Joe Jonas. So he's quite a bit ahead of guys like Kevin and Nick Jonas, but that's because he is the star in Camp Rock, right? It's him and Demi Lovato, right? The other Jonas brothers kind of get a side role compared to Joe. So playing Shane Gray in the first 2 movies got him obviously a lot of points, and he gets the bonus points as well for being the star in every thing that he was in, being those 2 Camp Rock movies, and then of course the Jonas Show. Now I know there's a Camp Rock 3 that's coming out at some point. I don't know if it's going to come out in 2026, 2027, or maybe even later, but I do believe the 3 Jonas Brothers are going to have some sort of role in the movie. I know they're producing it or whatever. I'm not sure if they're going to act in it, but I do think they're going to act at least a minor role, so they could definitely be moving up on this list as well. Number 19 is going to be Jason Dolley, a guy that I feel like goes under the radar a little bit because he's not the star in a lot of things, and the stuff that he is a star in isn't necessarily very popular, but he was in Rita and Weeb. He was the star in Minutemen, the star in Hatching Pete, and of course he was PJ Duncan in Good Luck Charlie and the Good Luck Charlie Christmas movie, and he does get 10 bonus points for Pete being in the name of Hatching Pete. Number 18 is going to be Zac Efron with a score of a 50.9. He was really just in the first 3 High School Musical movies, as Troy Bolton, of course, and he does get 20 bonus points for being the star in all 3 movies, and all three movies being iconic. And then he gets a little bit bonus points for being a guest star in a couple of episodes of other shows. Number 17 is going to be Milo Manheim with a score of a 53.4. He was in the 4 Zombies movies where he was the star in all of them. He was in the Zombies animated show, and he was in Prom Pact as Ben Plunkett. He does not get any bonus points because Ben Plunkett was not the star of that show, but he was very, very close to getting another bonus 10 points on this list. Number 16 is going to be Debbie Ryan. So we're getting close to the top here. Debbie Ryan was really popular, of course. She was Abby Jensen in 16 Wishes. She was Bailey Pickett in Sweet Life on Deck and the Sweet Life movie. She was the star Tara Adams in Radio Rebel. Of course, the star in the show Jessie. And yeah, she does get 10 bonus points for being Jessie in the show Jessie. Number 15 is going to be David Henry, a classic, very memorable character who is actually still active today, right? The Wizards Beyond Waverly Place is the new reboot or extension, whatever you want to call it, of Wizards of Waverly Place. So he, gets a lot of bonus points for being still active, right? But he was in That's So Raven. He was in Wizards of Waverly Place. He was in Sweet Life on Deck for one episode. He was in, of course, the Wizards of Waverly Place movie. He was in Dadnapped, and he was in the Wizards Beyond Waverly Place. Now, I did kind of cheat by giving him 10 bonus points here, but I gave him 10 bonus points for being the star and everything that he was in, even though technically he's not the star in That's So Raven. But just because it's David Henry, I did use a little bit of bias overload here. So you can be mad at that, but I feel like David Henry, if he was 10 points lower, it just wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. Number 14 is going to be Meg Donnelly with a score of 57.4. She was, of course, Addison in the 4 Zombies movies and the animated show. She does get 10 bonus points for being the star in everything that she was in. Number 13 is going to be Zendaya with a score of a 58.1. She was Rocky Blue, of course, in Shake It Up and an episode of Good Luck Charlie. She was in Frenemies as the star. She was the star of Zapped and the star of Casey Undercover. So she was the star in everything that she was in, and Casey is obviously in the title of Casey Undercover. So she gets 20 total bonus points for that. Number 12 is going to be Demi Lovato. I felt like she could have been a little bit higher, but she just wasn't in a whole lot of things. She was in Camp Rock movies, Princess Protection Program, and Sunny with a Chance. Right, all of these are pretty popular. Sunny with a Chance, however, did not get a 5 out of 5. It got a 4 out of 5 because that did cost her about 11 total points if you think about it. But she was the star in everything that she was in, and her name is in the title of Sunny with a Chance. She did get 20 bonus points, but she was 1 point away for the popularity of Sunny with a Chance from getting another 10 bonus points and moving pretty high up on this list. Number 11 is going to be Ross Lynch, one of the highest males on this ranking here. He was, of course, in Austin and Ally as Austin Moon. He was in Teen Beach Movie as Brady. So he does get 30 bonus points, actually, for being the star in everything that he was in. Everything that he was in was iconic. It's only those 3 shows, but still. And it gets 10 points for being in the name of Austin and Ally. Number 10 is going to be Dylan Sprouse. So this one's kind of controversial. I felt like going into this video, I felt like him and Cole would have been top 5. But, spoiler alert, Cole's number 9. I mean, they were in the exact same stuff, so they're not going to be any different. But they're at 9 and 10. I thought they'd both probably be closer to 5 than they were 10. But let's go over their stuff. They're, of course, in the Sweet Life movie, the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, and the Sweet Life on Deck. Right? They were also in a lot of guest star episodes as well. But he only gets a score of a 62.1 because really those 3 shows is all that he was in. So he gets 30 points for that. And he gets 30 bonus points for being the star. They were all iconic. And his name is in the title of Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. So he did get 30 bonus points. Gave him a score of a 62.1. Same with Cole. But I can't just give him other points for being, iconic and popular. I already gave them all the points that I could, even though I feel like they're definitely bigger stars than just number 9 and number 10. But their roles and their movies speak for themselves. I can't really change that for you. Number 8 is going to be Christy Carlson Romano, most popular for playing Kim Possible, of course, in both the movie and the show. She was also in Cadet Kelly. She was in Even Stevens. She was in a decent amount of things. She got 20 bonus points for her name being in the title, obviously, of both the show and the movie for Kim Possible. Number 7 is going to be Miley Cyrus, probably the biggest name themselves to come out of Disney Channel, but a lot of that is because of her post Disney Channel success, which again we're not taking in post Disney Channel success. We're taking in strictly their success in their roles and their popularity in their roles on Disney Channel, right? Their post Disney Channel career doesn't matter. Their singing career doesn't matter, right? So she got a lot of points in Hannah Montana and the Hannah Montana movie, and that's really most of what she was in. She was also actually a side character, a very, very, very minor character in The Emperor's New School, but I kind of discredited that so I could be able to get her bonus points for being the iconic, for being the star, and for her stuff being iconic, because if she didn't have those 20 points just because of The Emperor's New School, she would be way down on this list, and I feel like a lot more people would be mad. So again, I kind of did a bias overload here just to get her into the top 7, right? But I feel like she's definitely a top 7 figure. So you can argue with that all you want, but I mean, if she was 20 points lower, she'd be ranked in like the 30s, and I don't think he would like that very well. But moving on here, Selena Gomez with a score of a 66.3. She was obviously really big. She was in a lot of stuff. A lot of guest star appearances as well, but she was also just in a lot of stuff. She was Carter Mason in Princess Protection Program. She was, of course, Alex Russo in the movie and the show Wizards of Waverly Place, and she was Alex Russo in The Wizard's Return, which actually got her 13 points because Alex Russo plays 2 characters. Selena Gomez plays 2 very distinct characters in that movie, so I gave her double the points for playing the 2 main characters, right? So you can disagree with that all you want, but I feel like it's pretty reasonable because she did play 2 characters. She should get double the credit, and then she also gets, plus 20 for being the star in everything that she's in, and for her name being in the title, Wizard's Return, Alex versus Alex. Moving on to number 5, Brenda Song. So, Brenda Song was in a lot of stuff. She was in a lot of stuff. She's in The Ultimate Christmas Present as Samantha Kwan. She was in Get a Clue. She was in Stuck in the Suburbs. She was the star of Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior. She was, of course, in the Sweet Life movie, The Sweet Life on Deck, and The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. She was in Amphibia as a pretty important character there, and she was a guest star in quite a bit of things as well. She does get 10 bonus points for being in the title, Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior. She comes in here at number 5 for the all-time Disney Channel stars. Number 4, Ashley Tisdale. She was in quite a bit of things. She was in the 3 High School Musical movies as Sharpay, of course. She was in Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure. She also voices Candace in Phineas and Ferb and Phineas and Ferb Across the Second Dimension. One thing worth noting is that Phineas and Ferb, the Candace Against the Universe movie, is not technically a Disney Channel movie. It is a Disney Plus original movie. So that does not count, because that probably would have got her an extra 10 points, right? Probably another 20 points, actually, because Candace is in the title of the movie. But that's not a Disney Channel movie. It's a Disney Plus movie, so doesn't count. But, of course, again, she was in all of that stuff. She gets plus 10 for being in Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure for the title there, of course. She's the 4th most popular Disney Channel star of all time. Number 3 is going to be Hilary Duff. She was only in 3 projects. She was in Lizzie McGuire as Lizzie McGuire, the Lizzie McGuire movie as Lizzie McGuire, and Cadet Kelly as Kelly Collins. So, 30 points for the 3 projects that she was in. Can't really get much better than that. And also, they were all iconic. She was in the star of all of them, and her name is in the title of all 3 projects. So she gets 50 bonus points. Right? That is crazy. She was only in 3 projects, and she got 50 bonus points. But it does make sense because, I mean, Hilary Duff is one of the biggest Disney Channel stars of all time, despite only being in 3 movies. So I feel like my scoring system and my bonus point system, at least, for sure, like very much checks out, because my bonus points are the only reason that she's anywhere remotely close to being, one of the top Disney Channel stars. Right now, we're gonna get into number 2 really quickly. I feel like a lot of you guys probably have one name on your list that you think is gonna be in here. The other name might surprise you. Number 2 might surprise you, but it's going to be Dove Cameron, actually, with the score of an 80.3. I mean, she's in the 3 Descendants movies as Mal, right? She was in Descendants Wicked World, of course, as Mal. She was in Cloud 9 as Kayla Morgan, right, being the star of that. She was also in Liv and Maddie, right, where she played 2 very distinct characters, Liv and Maddie. So she got 10 points for her acting role in there. She got 15 points for that one show. Right, I did this with Selena Gomez in Alex vs. Alex. I gave them double the points because they played 2 main characters. Right, again, you can disagree with that if you want to, but I think it's fair. Right, if you're playing 2 characters, you should be able to get double the points. Right, so she got 15 points for that one show. She got plus 20 points for her name being in Liv and Maddie. I did not double that one. I didn't give her 20 points for that show specifically because technically both her characters are in that, but I just gave her 10 points for that show. And then, of course, another 10 points for being the star in everything that she is in. Before I get on to number 1, I'm sure most of you guys can already guess who it is. But I just want to thank you for making it this far. Also, let me know who your personal top 5 or top 10 favorite ones are. And who you think should have been, the top at my list. Who you think... do you think my list was scored properly or anything like that? What would you change about the way I scored things, the way I ranked things, maybe at times? Any problems you have with my algorithm here, basically, feel free to leave that in the comments below. But I'm moving on to number 1, which again, you probably could have guessed. It's going to be Raven-Symoné. Nobody else really had a chance. She got a score rating 94.6, over 14 points higher than the next actor or actress, I guess. And she's also going to be making another show, right? She was in, of course, That's So Raven, which had a spin-off into Cory in the House. And then there's a sequel series called Raven's-Home, right? And now there's going to be a spin-off to the sequel series Ravenhome that she is supposed to produce, direct, and potentially act in as well. So she's probably going to be climbing up this list in the future even more, which is crazy because she is one of the OG Disney Channel stars, and she's still one of the current Disney Channel stars. She just doesn't want to leave Disney Channel, which I can't really blame her. She's very successful, and she's been in so much stuff. I'm going to read off this list now, right? She was in Xenon, the first and the third movie. She was not in the second movie because she was filming other things, I believe. She was in the Kim Possible show and movie. She was, of course, in That's So Raven, in Raven's Home. She was in the Cheetah Girls 1, 2, not the third Cheetah Girls movie. She was also in Big City Greens, and then she gets 20 bonus points for Raven being in the title of That's So Raven and Raven's Home. So, again, there's a lot of stuff here. Raven-Symoné, I think, is by far and away the best, biggest, popular Disney Channel star, strictly for their roles with Disney Channel. Obviously, guys like, Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez, had more popular post-Disney Channel careers with their music, more specifically. Other actors, actresses like Zendaya, obviously had bigger roles post-Disney. But Raven-Symoné, most of her popularity in general, in all of her acting, music careers, comes from Disney Channel, right? But before we end this video, I will show you, a simple view here of everything. I'll try to get out of the way so you guys can kind of see all of that. But this just lists everybody 1 through 50 here with all their points and scoring, so you can kind of see everything at once. Take a picture if you really care to do that. But this is a good view to look at everything, again, all at once. But now that you see that, you can pause it again if you want to. But I'm going to move on and close out this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to come back next time. I have no idea when the next video is going to be. I have no idea what the next video is going to be about. But stay tuned.